Are we on? We're on the telly. Rise and shine, wakey, wakey. Is this Tuesday, Wednesday? It's Wednesday. Wednesday is Ireland Day on Virgin Media One.
Wednesday, the 3rd of August. There we go. From marvellous musicians to mighty Meath footballers. We've got plenty to keep you entertained over the next 3 hours.
But first, we ask why the number of patients waiting over 24 hours for admission to the emergency department has trebled in the last few months alone.
And if you've been anywhere near it, if you've got a family member who has been in A&E and you'd like to get in contact, it's 0896 111 111 to let us know what has been going on with them. Later, we're also going to be meeting the activist turned actor who inspired the hit Channel 4 series It's a Sin. Jill Naldor will be checking in.
Plus, we catch up with some of the Meath footballers after their triumphant win at Croke Park over the weekend.
What a homecoming. Look fantastic. And do you know what our Alan loves? Can you guess?
Diddly eye.
Oh, he loves a bit of diddly eye. He loves a Fleadh Cheoil.
Loves a Ceilidh.
He does, yeah, so we've sent him to one. Alan, how are you getting on this morning?
Well, good morning to you guys. Yes, we are here in Mullingar for Fleadh 2022. It started on Monday, going on all week. And look, we have musicians on the street at 7 o'clock in the morning. You could not move here last night. Thousands of people thronging Mullingar all week for Fleadh 2022. And of course, we are going to have lots of musicians right across the morning. This is Nasa and Kira. Thank you for coming out this early in the morning, girls. Oh, sure, I tell you, where else would you be of a Wednesday morning but on Ireland AM? As I said, lots of musicians right throughout the morning. We're going to do a bit of step dancing later on. Yeah, I'll be giving that a try. And John Kenny and Mary McEvoy have reunited once again for John B. Keane's The Matchmaker, and we'll be chatting to them about that performance also. That's coming up right throughout the show. So lots more. We've music, Yola, August Crack at Fleadh 22 here in Mullingar.
Ray's on his way.
I'm gone. I'm going to be dancing on the motorway towards you in a couple of minutes.
Be happening.
All right,
hey,
a busy show ahead live from Mullingar throughout the morning here on Ireland AM. Right, Deric, how's the weather looking this morning?
You missed your calling for Riverdance, the two of you there.
Unbelievable.
I tell you, I'm already in a fluster.
Naturals, right? Good morning, guys. It's a showery start to the Midwest into eastern and northern areas out there today. And in fact, not great news out there this Wednesday because we have plenty of heavy showers coming down. So, guys, it really is a day for a big cup on tea. That's the kind of day it is.
Lovely.
Kind of a wet one, but anyway, we'll deal with it.
Or to be on the streets in Mullingar.
Of Mullingar.
That's Mullingar. It's dry there at the moment.
Listen, a plastic pint, you're good to go. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much for that, Deric. We will see you throughout the morning. But right now, let's go over and say hello for the first time this morning to the Virgin Media News Hub. Here is Anne O'Donnell.
Thank you, Muireann. Good morning. A visit by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan has stoked tensions between China and the United States. China's foreign minister has said the visit infringes on China's sovereignty and blatantly engages in political provocations. Pelosi is the highest-ranking American official to visit the self-ruled island claimed by China in 25 years. She has made it clear on the trip that Washington will not abandon Taipei. China has quickly announced that it would conduct military manoeuvres in retaliation for her presence there.
Today, our delegation, of which I'm very proud, came to Taiwan to make unequivocally clear we will not abandon our commitment to Taiwan, and we are proud of our enduring friendship.
Back home, the government's emergency energy group will meet today to discuss contingency fuel plans for winter. The group is expected to discuss the worst-case scenario in the event of fuel shortages here due to the ongoing war in Ukraine. It's expected officials will formulate a contingency plan for supplying bulk fuels to food and medicine production sectors in the event of a serious interruption to oil supply this winter. One of the leading medical technology companies, Stryker, has announced it is opening a new 3D printing facility in County Cork, which will create the capacity for 600 new jobs. Well, the Taoiseach is expected to attend the official opening of the new manufacturing facility in Carrigtwohill this afternoon. Micheál Martin described it as a very welcome development for Cork and the southwest region. The first shipment of grain to leave Ukraine since Russia invaded the country over 5 months ago has arrived safely in Turkey. The ship will be inspected this morning before continuing on its journey to Lebanon. An estimated 20 million tonnes of grain have been stuck in Ukraine since the start of the war, intensifying a global food crisis. Emergency services in the US are continuing to battle a McKinney blaze in California. The deadly blaze has already killed 4 people and is described as the largest wildfire in the state so far this year.
Satellite imagery shows the explosive growth of the McKinney fire over the weekend. The blaze started on Friday but erupted in size on Saturday and has since burned through some 55,000 acres, prompting the evacuation of thousands of residents.
My wife and I have been married in August 51 years.
Congratulations.
So our whole life was right here.
We might be evacuated once about 7 years ago, but we didn't have to go. This is my first time in my whole 73 years.
The McKinney fire is requiring a massive emergency response, with some 1,300 firefighters now battling the blaze. Officials say a red flag warning for dangerous fire conditions has been extended. The cause of the deadly blaze is still unclear, but authorities say it is clear that the fire wasn't started by a lightning strike. A specialised team is in place to investigate the cause, which will be actively working to identify what was responsible. Claire Regan, Virgin Media News.
Elsewhere in the US, at least 37 people have now been confirmed dead following severe flooding in Kentucky. Hundreds of people are still missing after flash floods destroyed homes, roads and bridges last week, with Kentucky's governor saying damage to critical infrastructure is hampering efforts to help residents. Parts of the states received between 20 and 27 centimetres of rain over a 48-hour period last week, while more rain is forecast for the coming days.
It is absolutely devastating out there. It's going to take years to rebuild. People left with absolutely nothing. Homes that we don't know where they are, just entirely gone.
And finally, for now, the feature film on Colleen Keown is being put forward for the Oscars. The story of a 9-year-old girl in the 80s who is sent to live with foster parents for the summer, where she discovers a new way of life. The Irish Film and Television Academy has put forward the Irish language film for the Best International Feature Film category. A panel making the shortlist for the Oscars will later decide whether or not the Irish entry will be in with a chance of picking up an award.
For car insurance, van insurance or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Yes, Anne-Marie, a little bit of a rattle in the trees out there this morning. A very good morning to you at home if you're indeed streaming online. We're on to Wednesday, the 3rd of August, with our Condon with us now on cameras. Let's take an opening look at weather together, and it's a bit of a showery start, in fact, through parts of Clare at the moment, up around parts of Ulster onto the east coast. But elsewhere, holding dry, it's a nice bright spell kicking through there in across northeastern sections, parts of Cork into South Tip and eastern Waterford faring pretty well out there this morning now in those light to moderate westerly winds. Now, right across this afternoon, in fact, that sunshine will slide. Still a good deal of brightness right down the central spine of the country, but we'll see some scattered showers trade around. Some of those may lean on the slightly heavier side, but we will see an improving picture through parts of the west. Some really nice sunshine there kicking through from North Mayo into parts of North Kerry, West Limerick and southern sections of Munster too. Top valleys of about 14 to 18 degrees. Finally then, tonight it will be mainly dry, calm and clear. Very little in the way of cloud cover as those winds veer to the northwest. In fact, we're going to see some nice sunshine on the cards as we work our way into your Thursday, with overnight lows back to about 11 to 15 degrees, mildest there for parts of Munster. So that's how we're shaping up for now. We'll catch you back live at 7:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote. It's time now to take a look at this morning's paper, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline: Kelly resigns as judge of Dubai court. Former High Court President Peter Kelly's decision to resign as a judge of the Dubai International Financial Centre courts came just hours after the Gulf Court removed all references to former Chief Justice Frank Clark following his resignation at the weekend.
State will pay €5 million to upgrade church property for Ukrainians, is the front page of the Irish Independent. The government is primed to spend €5 million renovating and maintaining buildings owned by religious orders to help house Ukrainian refugees fleeing the war.
The Examiner's front page: €200 million in house building funds unspent. Building inflation, energy costs and a shortage of supplies were to blame for a €200 million capital underspend by the Department of Housing between April and June.
China's chilling threat over a US trip to Taiwan is the top story on the Daily Mail. China last night threatened to encircle Taiwan with warships and jets after the US Speaker Nancy Pelosi flew in on a provocative trip.
The Mirror goes with something a little bit different from Nancy Pelosi. Rebecca, I didn't do it. Rebecca Vardy breaks down in tears in her first interview since losing the Wagatha Christie libel case and still claims she is innocent.
And the Sun leads with that same story. Their headline, I rang Colleen and said, what the F is this? That's Wayne Rooney. That's Rebecca.
That was Rebecca.
I'm looking forward to the dramatisation, to the movie of that once it comes
out. Do you know what? We'll cast it in a little while. The Herald goes with something a bit different. Sex crime reports surging. The number of sex crimes being reported to the Gardaí continues to increase. Shocking statistics from the first half of 2022 show.
And finally, the Star leads with Baggy Island. Shane Lowry compared Dublin Airport to Father Dougal yesterday after baggage handlers lost his golf clubs ahead of a tournament. They sent them to Chicago instead, so he's clubless.
Do you know what? I'd be happy going to Chicago instead. It'd be fine.
You're not a bag, though.
Maybe. Now, here's the number. 0896 111 111 to get involved in this, because coming up, thousands of people are waiting over 24 hours to just be seen in emergency departments and hospitals around the country.
We'll be discussing that just after these. You're very welcome back now. The HSE has confirmed that the number of patients waiting over 24 hours at emergency departments for admission to hospital has nearly trebled in the first 5 months of 2022.
Joining us now is Stephen McMahon from the Irish Patients Association and Dr. Fergal Hickey, President of the Irish Association for Emergency Medicine. Thank you both so much for joining us this morning. Fergal, if we could start with you. Of course, we're in the summer months when we don't expect that many people to be going to hospital in comparison to winter when we normally see people not getting beds. But this is a huge 25,000 people waiting over 24 hours to get admission into hospital. What's going on?
Well, first of all, it's completely and utterly unacceptable and has been unacceptable for many years. And it's not just a winter problem nowadays. For the last 5 or 6 years, it's become a 12-month-of-the-year problem. What's hitting us particularly hard at the moment is the impact of COVID. So we know a number of things. One is we're short of acute hospital beds. We have 2/3 of the OECD average of acute hospital beds per thousand of the population. So we're short to start with. Secondly, because of COVID and the difficulties in getting patients out of hospital to community facilities, that whole process has slowed down. So that means that many of the beds are occupied by people who should have moved on to an alternative facility. And the third issue is because of the large number of COVID outbreaks on wards, many of the beds that would typically have been available to us in the past are not available because of restrictions on admission. So these three things have come together to cause the perfect storm. But it's unacceptable and it's a high risk for patients, but it's also a high risk for staff in emergency departments who are left having to look after these patients when they should be in a hospital bed.
Right, because when we were looking at the statistics yesterday where they were making the front page of the newspaper, they were showing that there hasn't been necessarily a huge spike this year compared to last year or the year before when we were in the midst of COVID. But it's a sort of an ongoing or an after effect of COVID. Then is that the case?
No, we have a lot of patients in hospital with COVID. What we don't have is a significant number of patients in intensive care units with COVID. So although COVID is not as significant an illness in terms of not killing as many people, it's not causing them to require admission to intensive care units, there are lots of patients in hospital with COVID. And sadly, there are patients who are actually contracting COVID in hospital because of a legacy of very poor infrastructure, which hasn't been addressed in the past 20 or 30 years.
Stephen, we can see Fergal himself there is incredibly frustrated at what's going on with this situation, that our hospitals just aren't good enough. What are you hearing from patients on the ground? Because the one thing that I can say is when you're in an emergency department, it's not like doctors and nurses and porters are resting on their laurels. They're lashing around the place.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think it's a very important point to make that the emergency staff, the doctors and the nurses and the other staff there are doing an incredible job. And they are not responsible for the state of the emergency departments. Let's be clear about that. The problem associated with the emergency departments is one for the whole operations of the whole hospital system and the management of the patient process and having the resources there. But as you say there, the impact on patients who are on trolleys, I mean, we have had reports from people where they've been staying with a relative and they notice another person has fallen off a trolley and been seriously injured as a result of that. When they're actually in the emergency on a trolley waiting to be transferred. And as Dr. Hickey mentioned there, there are very high risks associated with when overcrowding really builds up. And there's also other factors as well too, because of the long waiting time that people have for their operations. Say somebody is waiting for a hip replacement and they're waiting so long, they have an accident in their kitchen or in their garden and they end up as seriously ill going into the ED department as a result of that. So really, at the end of the day, as Dr. Hickey mentioned there, this has been going on for years. I'm a member of the Emergency Department Task Force and I feel, like it's Groundhog Day every year and we're going to hear great plans and all the rest of it and we've hardly met in the last year. As a task force, and you wonder why this is so. Professor Keane produced a report that we got under the FOI. 18 months we waited to get it. The HSE refused to give it to us under FOI, and the Department of Health gave it to us. And would you like me just to share with your viewers what they actually said, how opposed they were in their thinking? The HSE said we don't need to implement a lot of these recommendations because
from Professor Keane in relation to
Professor Keane's report that they never finalised because a lot is done through COVID. But what the department said was there's a number of issues of concern in the review for the department, and it would not agree with the assessment above. There is no evidence that the changes necessitated by COVID have brought about the type of permanent, long-term structural, operational or organisational changes recommended in the review. Now, I ask you, this is what the Department of Health is saying about the HSE's view about a very, very important report by Professor Keane.
Incredibly frustrating.
So we cannot blame the frontline staff and all of this.
Well, this is the thing, I suppose. And Fergal, as Stephen paying tribute to frontline staff and to the doctors and nurses, what is the experience of doctors in emergency departments sort of day to day and at the moment?
Well, the word frustrating, I think, sums it up very well. I mean, if you come to work on Wednesday and you see patients you saw on Tuesday, or indeed in some cases saw on Monday, and they're still there, that's intensely frustrating. It also means that the space that they're occupying is a space that somebody who's in the waiting room could be occupying if you get the patient that, is there for a prolonged period of time out of the department into a hospital bed. And in many cases, patients have their whole hospital admission in the emergency department. So they never make it to a hospital bed, and the care is delivered to them. But no emergency department can function as both an inpatient ward and an emergency department. It means they do both jobs badly. So it's intensely frustrating for doctors and nurses. And what we're seeing is people leaving the profession. We're seeing nurses taking early retirement. We're seeing nurses seek other employment opportunities within the health service. And we're beginning to see significant emigration again of nurses. And we're seeing similar things with doctors. Obviously, the nursing workforce is significantly bigger than the medical workforce. But we're losing experienced people at the moment. And I can see why that is. And, and the sense that Stephen has described, where this has been going on for years and simply has not been addressed, that is the main frustration.
See, this is what I don't... And we know that there is a huge amount of people who are leaving. We've seen violence in emergency departments increase a huge amount. So the amount that what people on the front line are experiencing is even worse than it was. But Fergal, what do we do? You're involved here. Like, is it middle management? What? Because, we're in summer months now and we're heading into winter. How can this be fixed?
The primary problem is a shortage of acute hospital beds. And we have talked about adding a couple of beds here and a couple of beds there. We need a substantial building programme of the kind that we had in the TB era. Some of your older listeners will remember the TB era when we built hospitals because that's what we needed to do. We've never taken the same approach to it All we're doing is little incremental steps. We need to add capacity in a very big way so that patients who need elective surgery can have elective surgery, and those that need emergency care get prompt emergency care, and the two aren't fighting for the same hospital bed, which is the current situation. That's the primary issue. And unless we address that, we're all wasting our time pretty much.
Gentlemen, it's not going to be fixed today or tomorrow by the looks of it, but we thank you both for joining us. Stephen McMahon and Dr. Fergal Hickey, thanks both very much for your time this morning.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we did have a HSE statement saying the HSE regrets that patients may experience long wait times in our emergency departments, and they go on to address that. If you have something that you would like to say on that issue, we would love to hear from you this morning. 0896 111 111. After the break, Andrea Gilligan will be taking a closer look at some of the major stories in this morning's papers.
And now, joining us to take a look at what's making the news in this morning's newspapers is News Talk's Andrea Gilligan. Andrea, good morning. Good morning. And crime is making the front pages of the newspapers this morning. Bogus tradesmen, fraud up more than 80%, Garda figures show. This is the front of the Irish Times. It's not just bogus tradesmen, it's crime in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting as well, Ray, like these figures that were released, the crime stats from the Guards, is that it kind of shows that a lot of the trends that emerged during the pandemic have continued, like the likes of your, say, technology fraud. For instance, it's up at about, it's over 128%. This is in relation to fraud involving the takeover of bank accounts. And we hear a lot about this. Like you hear constantly bank scams, the text. We've probably all been, absolutely, subject to it at some point. But that is something that has really, borne out the figures when you look here today. It is the highest actual jump at 128% in relation to bank accounts. That's something that really kicked off during the pandemic in the past 2 years, and it's continued. And that's what we're seeing.
And people who are being hit by the takeover of the bank accounts an awful lot of the time are older people.
Yeah,
and younger people, actually, they're really bad for it as well. But then,
just clicking through, is it?
Clicking through,
Follow
they
the
found...
link, I mean, I nearly fell for it myself.
But last year it was found that people up to the age of, I think it was between 18 and 28 or something, they were the ones who were falling for it.
They're very sophisticated.
Well, they are sophisticated, but you can see why some people, because I know some old people are like, I want to deal in cash. I don't want to be dealing with any of these links. They want to be going into their bank and kind of going, I want to do this face to face, so I know exactly what's going on. There was... we're going to get onto the bogus tradesmen in a minute, but when it came to the increase in reported rapes to Gardaí.
The number of rape cases and rape incidents jumped over 20% to about 23% in the past year. The sexual assault offences, they actually dropped. Sex offences are down, but assault causing harm offences, they too are up. And this is something that we saw as well, Muireann, domestic violence cases that had emerged again during the pandemic over 2 years, where people were actually a lot of the time at home,
stuck in the house,
and the opportunity to seek help, to try and get advice, to leave the situation that they're in. And again, these are figures that we see today with a huge jump in cases and the large number of domestic violence incidents where people were actually forced, unfortunately, nearly to stay at home as a result during the pandemic. You mentioned the bogus tradesmen as well. Like, this is a really interesting stat. It's up over 80%. This is people calling to people's houses, alleging to, be X sort of a tradesperson for, Y job or
we had it on our road during the pandemic last year.
What were they offered to do?
The roof.
Oh, right, okay.
So they go up on the roof and they were hitting they were watching the older people go into their houses, and they were targeted. They were going up on the roof. They were doing nothing up there. We were watching them, and people from our side of the road were going over, they're not going to get out.
How did you know they were bogus?
Because they were doing nothing. They were sitting up there and they were putting a hammer like this, or they had their hand like this. Like pigeons.
Just sitting up there.
Just sitting there doing nothing. But it was and everyone was like, well, these are taking advantage of this woman. So 0896 111 111 if you have seen something like this. There was nothing.
And I know a lot of the organisations will say, like, just the significance and the importance, and sometimes it's so easy to kind of nearly, just to bypass it, to look for the likes. Just look for the credentials. Make sure the website is
But they called to their doors and they were bullying them. It was like they were bullying them to do it.
Them
it was.
And what could that increase be attributed to as well? Just coming out of it being acceptable for people to be knocking on your door again after COVID or after lockdowns?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Just one thing I would say on the figures that, sometimes we kind of bypass about this. I think the figures today, it really shows this is the significance of actually reporting crimes. Like sometimes you might see, like your wing mirror might have been knocked off or there might have been a small theft from outside the house. But this is actually why it's so important to actually go to the guards to report it, because your incident will make up part of these figures. We can see that although burglary crimes are up, they're actually down in figures from pre-pandemic levels, and part of the reason for that was that the guards actually put a huge operation in Operation Thor, targeting travelling gangs around the country. And that's why we have, we've had a drop in the likes of burglaries over the years.
So
that's why, in terms of, allocating resources, that's why these figures are so important.
Sorry, it's a very serious issue. I was just trying to make them laugh.
Sabina Higgins is on the front page. She's been embroiled for like the last week or so.
She broke her silence last night.
Ukraine,
This is the letter
so
on the
why
war
was
in
this
Ukraine.
letter controversial in the first place?
Because she wrote a letter, it was published in the Irish Times over a week ago, where she basically appealed for peace and negotiation, and it was felt that she didn't criticise or condemn the illegal Russian invasion of Ukraine. And as a result of that, there's been a lot of discussion around this. The reason it raised its head again over the weekend, or in the past 48 hours effectively, was because the letter was subsequently then published on the president.ie, the official president of Ireland, Aras Anukdaran website. And in a statement yesterday evening, Sabina Higgins came out, she addressed this very issue. Number one, she said she published the letter and wrote the letter in a personal capacity. She also went on to say that it was published on the President's website, of which she has a section, because people who hadn't seen the letter or been in contact with her couldn't access it online and wanted an opportunity to read and to access the letter. That's why she says it was on the website. But she did go on to say that she was dismayed that people were puzzled by her plea for negotiation and peace, basically, on the issue, and she found that unacceptable, and she said that she was quite dismayed about that.
Yeah. I suppose people interpreted it was open to interpretation, the original letter. It wasn't, people said it wasn't just asking, because we'd all want peace. We all would want peace. But in terms of her position then as the wife of the president,
people felt the condemnation
wasn't
should have and needed
enough.
to be stronger.
Yeah.
There's still two questions you could argue. If you're going, if the next point today, here we are now into Wednesday, is does this draw a line? Does this draw a line in the sand about it? There's the content of the letter that you've touched on there, Ray, and whether or not that is sort of put to bed now, and there's no need to talk about it anymore. That kind of remains to be seen. What is interesting, though, and what a lot of people are wondering, is how does the spouse of the president, which is not a constitutional or official capacity, how does the wife of the president have a section on the president.ie website? What's interesting, actually, in Sabina's letter last night is that she says she's had this section on the website since 2014.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is where
because
there might be...
she has to work whilst she hasn't been elected, she works in an official capacity, like she attends functions as wife of the president.
Yeah, but it's not, I suppose, a constitutional role as such, and that is why people are wondering today, why does the president's wife, spouse, have this section on the website? What's interesting is that I'm interested to hear what the Taoiseach Micheál Martin has to say about it, because he's yet to comment on it, and I would imagine that there will still be some lingering tensions over the next 24 hours.
It must be great to have a blog in this day and age. Nobody reads blogs anymore.
I know, it has been suggested by Paul Murphy TD that this is payback for him coming out about housing. In relation to Paul Murphy, who said yesterday that this has all been a storm in a teacup. Because
exactly. He also said he thought that Sabina Higgins has fully addressed the matter, and it's now put to bed.
Clicks going through the roof on president.ie this morning.
Listen, 0896 111 111
well, it's
whether you care about it.
Yeah.
Now, we were thinking this morning, will we talk about Nancy Pelosi possibly causing a trade war with China? And then we went,
What's the bigger story?
What's the bigger story?
Yeah.
Rebecca Vardy's going to be on the telly.
3 o'clock. That's where you're at today.
Look at you. You're right
straight out of lunchtime live home to talk TV.
Set a reminder.
the interview they all wanted on Talk TV.
Absolutely. Kate McCann is going to host it. It's been pre-recorded. We got the trailer of it. 3 o'clock today. This is since she lost the high-profile court case.
She lost it, right? Okay.
Against, of course, Colleen Rooney just last week over that viral social media post. Anyway, what's quite interesting about this, she stands by it. Absolutely.
Says she didn't do it.
Didn't do it. In actual fact, she went on to say in the clip, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I didn't do it.
Okay.
But look, there's going to be an awful lot of, I think, analysis and discussion around this. It's called Rebecca Vardy, Colleen and Me.
Colleen and Me.
3 p.m. Talk TV.
I do think the woman, people are the death threats are ridiculous. I mean, leave her alone, it's absolutely mad. There you go. She's going to be on the telly a little bit later on. Andrea Gilligan, you will be on the radio later on, 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock. Ray's going to be on the radio at 2 o'clock. I mean, we'll just do a whole shout out for your radio shows. Thank you so much, Andrea. We'll talk to you later. We'll be back with you in Ireland Day very shortly. Welcome back. Now, when Alan heard thousands of people were en route to Mullingar for a sing-song, do you know what? We couldn't hold him back, lads. He was out. There was an Alan-shaped hole in the door of Virgin Media.
Gone. And listen to this beautiful sound. Isn't that gorgeous? It's angelic. That is the accompaniment to Alan Hughes this morning.
Oh, thank you very much, Aideen. You're very welcome back to Mullingar. We've moved inside to the famous Grenville Arms Hotel here in the heart of town, and that was Aideen. Thank you very much. Beautiful piece of music there. And we're also joined now by Joe Kinnair, who's the chairperson. It's all on your shoulders of Fleadh Cheoil over the next couple of days. Thank you both very much for joining us this morning. Joe, can we start with you? It's everywhere we've seen the signs for the homecoming. Why is it a homecoming for the Fleadh Mullingar?
Well, I suppose Comhaltas Comhalta Riairn was founded in Mullingar in 1951. The first Fleadh Cheoil that ever took place was in Mullingar in the same year. And they've been taking place ever since and grown to an enormous proportion.
So Mullingar is the home of the Fleadh?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
now, you had this, it was supposed to happen before COVID.
Yes, so I've been working on this since 2016 with a great volunteer committee, and I suppose we were almost there in March 2020, and the next thing, COVID arrived and unfortunately stalled us in our tracks, but we regrouped and we kept meeting through Zoom and kept the wheel turning, and we finally got here, and we're delighted to be here at this point.
And you're saying there's about 500,000 people will come and see the music?
Yeah, roughly 500,000. Hopefully, I think we might break a record this year. We might go a bit.
What is the record?
Well, look, at 500,000 is the figure.
Yeah,
you know,
that they expect in a town.
Yeah. So,
because isn't it like in towns like this, you can't expect much more, really,
can
you?
But you have to have a town that can cope with the crowd. You have to accommodate them. You have to feed them. You have to have a good road network in and out of town to bring them in and out. So you have to have you have to tick the boxes before you can get the nomination, really. You know?
And what I never realised is that there is a bidding process. The towns bid to hold the Fleadh.
Yeah, so Fleadh Cheoil Nahiran, it's worth in the region of 50 million to a town, so there's plenty of interest to bring Fleadh Cheoil Nahiran to various towns around the country, and so we had to go through the bid process. We were up against 3 other towns in Leinster, so we won that vote, and we got the Ard Corla nomination after that, so happy days. We're onwards and upwards.
And you're here. Yeah. And you hope to be here next year as well.
Well, sure, look.
You're putting the bid in already, getting your spoke in this morning.
I'll have to get on to the volunteer committee now to see whether they'll focus for another year. But look, we'll give it a go.
And, of course, so many performers. And Aideen, thank you for joining this morning. Beautiful playing on the harp there. You're performing here today.
Yes, I am indeed. I'm performing in St Paul's Church at 5:30 with Martha Guiney and Mossalvini. So
now you were launching your career. We were saying just before COVID. You were launching your career literally just before COVID hit.
Yeah, February 2020 I launched 18. So it was a whirlwind. So I had a lot of plans and everything, and touring and all that, and it all came to a standstill. But I used that. I think it worked out for the better, because I used that time and recorded more and worked really hard over the 2 years. Just used it to my advantage.
And you were a school teacher, so you were able to continue to do that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I'm a school teacher, and I taught for the last 2 years in Dublin, and finally now I've taken the leap and going back full time, touring, and fingers crossed.
No, there'll be no more COVID.
Time, you would ask me, touch wood, that I might be back teaching. So.
Because you are busy. You flew in from somewhere yesterday. You're flying. Where
I've had
have
a
you
nightmare of a trip to get here, but I got here eventually. I was 48 hours trying to get back to Ireland from Canada. I was on a Canadian tour.
Oh, wow.
I came back with just a fiddle, no baggage, but that's all I need. Yeah,
if we're hearing the stories about Dublin Airport at the moment, you're happy about that.
There if they know where my bags are, but it's grand, and I had a great time. And I'm off to Finland with Martha in the morning we're playing a festival up in Kalajoki, up in the north of Finland. So
can I ask you, like, if you launched your career, how did those things happen? How are you playing in festivals all over the world?
I think you kind of used your advantage. So I used the time over the last 2 years to work really hard and just make a lot more music, collaborate with a lot of different people. And I think that's the way. I was in Finland this year and met some people and they asked us to come back. And rather than just sitting at home, you know, just diving into gloom and doom, I kind of just used it to, you know, you had all this free time. So I just worked hard and hopefully it'll go from there.
And you have songs that went to #1. If people want to find out more about your music, where can they find you?
Yes, so it's Aideen. I just left it at my first name because my name's very long. And
what was your name?
My name's Aideen Joaquin. So
okay,
if
right.
I told someone to Google that, it'd be very hard to spell.
I could imagine them in Canada or the States trying to get that one.
Yeah. The first name was hard enough, but it's Aideen, Eadaoin. So all my platforms, my Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, all that is.
And it's St. John's Church today?
St. Paul's Church.
St. Paul's Church today.
At 5:30.
5:30. And Joe, obviously, so many musicians here all week.
Yeah, we'll have thousands of musicians, but there's something for everybody at Fleadh Cheoil here, and for the young, the middle-aged and the not-so-young. You know, we've paid concerts, we have a lot of street sessions, we have the competitions. The Coldest Culture here and competitions will start on Friday, and that's like the All-Ireland final of traditional Irish music, song, dance, agus, choró, gaeilge. So, look at... please come to the Fleadh. We will make everyone feel very welcome. We want a safe environment, and you know, I have to thank the statutory agencies that we were dealing with for the last couple of years on helping us bring the Fleadh and run a safe event. So that's what we want here in Mullingar.
And it just must be wonderful. You must be so proud when you see full streets and just people enjoying themselves, listening to the music.
Absolutely, and I think the town has never looked so well. I was coming up the town last week and I was hit by about 3 power washers and about 4 or 5 paintbrushes.
One of the reasons we moved inside, because the trucks are going up cleaning the streets all morning. Yeah. Listen, Aideen, continued success, and Joe, thank you very much. Cheers. We might be back with you next year for Fleadh 2023.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks so much. As we said, lots more still to come from Mullingar, but now we're going to take a quick break.
Now, there's No, he's back. He's dying to get rid of us.
I could do with a break.
I was just about to say, we need to go out for a power wash for you. Wouldn't that be handy?
I love an old power wash, nothing more.
I know there's lots more to come from Alan at the Fleadh throughout the morning. Plus, later, All-Ireland champions Monica McGurk and Megan Tyne drop by for a chat.
And we meet the AIDS activist that inspired the award-winning TV series It's a Sin. We'll talk to you after these.
Welcome back to the studio. On the way, we're going to be meeting the woman who inspired the AIDS drama It's a Sin. It was such a wonderful programme. And you remember Jill in it? Well, Jill Naldor, whoopsie-daisy, tells us about her brand new book in just a little while. Plus, later on, the Meath Ladies on their 2-in-a-row All-Ireland victory. And Ray, do we finally have chips for you? Any chance?
Close enough. And
I'm
very happy. The dishy Jack O'Keeffe. Dishy. Oh, all right, Jack. Yeah.
I'm a dish, Jack.
He did write that himself.
It's we're having wings. Very excited about this.
I even got you some latex gloves. Not for anything kinky now, just for the wings.
Oh, so I don't get sticky. You've thought of everything. He's the perfect man. We'll be having wings a little bit later on this morning. And Alan, how are things in Mullingar?
Well, Ray, we are here in Mullingar and it has been a wonderful morning already and still lots to come. Here we are, look at this. The two Neves and Sean playing for us here, and that's what it's all about. Of course, the music across the week here at Fleadh, Nicole Aaron, right across Mullingar. This place was thronged last night, and still to come, I'm going to be trying some set dancing, and also we're going to be joined by Mary McEvoy and whose part is playing in The Matchmaker with John Kenny. They've reprised their roles in The Matchmaker, and that's playing. I can hardly hear myself with the music here. We'll be chatting to them a little later on. But some dancing and lots of music still to come, live from the Fleadh in Mullingar.
It is time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline, Kelly resigns as judge of Dubai court. Former High Court President Peter Kelly's decision to resign as a judge of the Dubai International Financial Centre courts came just hours after the Gulf Court removed all references to former Chief Justice Frank Clark following his resignation at the weekend.
State will pay €5 million to upgrade church property for Ukrainians. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. The government is primed to spend €5 million renovating and maintaining buildings owned by religious orders to help house Ukrainian refugees fleeing the war.
The Examiner's front page, €200 million in house building funds unspent. Building inflation, energy costs and a shortage of supplies were to blame for a €200 million capital underspend by the Department of Housing between April and June.
China's chilling threat over US trip to Taiwan is the top story on the Daily Mail. China last night threatened to encircle Taiwan with warships and jets after the US speaker flew in on a provocative trip.
The Mirror goes with Rebecca I Didn't Do It. Rebecca Vardy breaks down in tears in her first interview since losing the Wagatha Christie libel case and still claims she's innocent.
And the Sun leads with the same story there. Their headline is, I rang Colleen and said, what the F is this?
Now, the Herald goes with sex crime reports surging. The number of sex crimes being reported to the Gardaí continues to increase. Shocking statistics from the first half of 2022 show.
And finally, the Star leads with Baggy Island, and Shane Lowry compared Dublin Airport to Father Dougal yesterday after baggage handlers lost his golf clubs ahead of a tournament and they sent them to Chicago instead. I take it he wasn't going to Chicago.
He was not going to Chicago, and I was wondering what was going on, so we put up a meme of Father Dougal after he'd lost Father Jack, saying, I'll never, like the last time, Ted, I'll never lose them again, is what he'd put up. That's what it was about. Now, we were chatting about waiting times in emergency departments across Ireland and admission into hospital as a result. People are not very happy about this. Recently attended the A&E in Lord's Hospital in Drogheda. I arrived at 8:45 p.m. I had a triage nurse see me straight away, but was told it would be at least a 6-hour wait. And she said, go home and come back. When I did at 8 a.m, I still hadn't been called, was still in the queue, and I eventually got seen at 1:30 p.m. and I was charged €100 for the privilege. Absolutely disgraceful, says Michelle.
Loads of texts and loads of your experiences coming in with regards to emergency departments and waiting times. The way Dr. Fergal Hickey was pointing out to us that it's not waiting to be seen. You are seen. And I suppose our texter there, Michelle, said that she was seen, but it's then waiting for a bed subsequent to that, and it's waiting over 24 hours and indeed several days. I had to visit an A&E in Limerick the weekend in Limerick we're in the All-Ireland. I arrived at 10 p.m. Triage nurse says, do you realise the weekend you've come in? It shouldn't matter that the match is on. Staff should be rostered.
I think staff are rostered. It's the fact that they're going to have higher proportions of people coming into the emergency department on a busy
also,
weekend.
you can't choose to not be sick on the All-Ireland weekend.
I fully understand.
Like you go, well, you know.
I know.
Anyway, I was told I would not be seen until after 6 a.m. I didn't stay, went to my own doctor first thing, not enough staff, management not working in hospitals, in my opinion.
And here's, Marion says in relation to that, my question is, if people went to A&E and are obviously able to go back home, why were they there in the first place?
That number, yeah.
It seems that it was not that bad in the first place, so I'm taking it that a lot of people should not be going to the emergency department and taking up places for real emergencies and should instead be going to their GPs, is what Marion says there. 0896 111 111 if you'd like to get in contact in relation to that. Now, Alan is standing by with two of the Fleadh Cheoil's youngest competitors. Alan, good morning. Who have you got there?
Yes, thank you very much, Muireann. Welcome back to Mullingar for the Fleadh. And yes, as you said, two of the youngest competitors who will be competing this weekend. This is Anna and Aoife. Good morning to you.
Hello.
How are you? Your first time competing at the Fleadh?
Yeah.
Nervous?
No.
No, not at all. You have it in the bag, do you? What are you going to be performing? What are you going to be playing?
Well, I'm going to be playing the guitar, and Joe will be playing for me in the accompaniment competition.
Oh, the boss. Joe, the boss. All right. So you'll be accompanied by the boss. Very good. And what are you going to be playing?
The mandolin under 12.
The mandolin under 12. And you are both set dancing as well.
Yeah.
So you're really talented. You're doing loads.
Yeah.
So how much practice is going into this now before the weekend?
Well, we do set dancing like 2 times a week, and we practice mandolin and guitar every day.
Every day, and then you can practice at home as well, do you?
Yeah.
So a lot of, but like as you say, it's just a bit of fun as well, even though it is a competition. Has it been great? Has the atmosphere been great around Mullingar the last few days?
Yeah.
You really looking forward to it?
Yeah.
How long have you been playing the guitar?
3 years.
3 years, and what about you?
3 years in September.
3 years, and you like it?
Yeah.
And you go to music classes?
Yeah.
And you go to school here? You live in Mullingar?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
We live in Sauna.
Where?
We live in Sauna.
Just outside?
Yeah.
Okay, and you go to school there also?
Yeah.
And are there other children in the class in your school who are going to be competing this weekend, or is it just yous?
Just us.
Just us, okay. Now, what are you going to perform for us now?
A jig called the Wandering Minstrel.
The Wandering Minstrel,
Yeah.
jig. Okay. This is Aoife and Anna. Take it away, the Wandering Minstrel.
1, 2, 3.
You're very welcome back. Now, the hit Channel 4 TV series, It's a Sin, about the... Sorry, are you over there? You didn't realise you were over there.
Sorry.
I thought you were over here.
No.
It's a Sin, about the AIDS crisis of the 1980s. It was based around our next guest's life, navigating her early career with her friends during those troubling times.
Actress, activist and now author Jill Naldor joins us this morning. Good morning, Jill. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you. It's lovely to be with you.
And Jill, it feels like we know you a little bit because, you know, there is a character in It's a Sin, Jill Baxter, that is based on you. Yes. But can you tell us what your life was like when you decided to move from Wales to London? You were getting involved in the theatre scene and all the friends that you met up with.
Well, like for everybody, when you're 18, everything's very exciting. So it was absolutely fabulous to move to London because I grew up in quite a small town in Wales, in South Wales. So, you know, everything was very, it was hedonistic because you were young and it was, you know, discovering the world and meeting new people and it was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that was my hair. And it was such a lovely time, and that's my friends. I can see you're showing that now when we were living together and sharing flat, you know, and just having a great time, really.
And you were living through, as we saw in It's a Sin, you were living through the AIDS crisis in the 80s.
Yeah, it go on, sorry.
No, sorry, you go ahead.
No, it crept up on us, you know. We were just sort of coming to the end of our drama school years, and you suddenly heard about it. You didn't really know what it was to start with, and it kind of, you'd hear one thing, or I read an article in a newspaper about a gay flu that had happened in America, and men had died, and they said gay men, and you know that sounded strange. So the whole thing was sort of a bit of a mystery in the beginning, and then of course it got worse and worse.
And Jill, at that time, because you and your friends, you lived in the Pink Palace, we saw it in the programme, and it's in your book is called Love from the Pink Palace. Yeah. When you started hearing about, as it was called, this gay flu, was this something that was very secret? And then when did you realise that it was affecting your friends?
Well, again, it crept up on us. You know, you sort of hear there were people in our sort of extended group that did this kind of terrible thing, that they just disappeared. You know, somebody would say that they'd gone home, they weren't well. You'd hear sort of mysterious, like, whisperings about what had happened. And then eventually one of our friends in college was diagnosed with HIV, and then it was full-blown AIDS very quickly. It progressed, the disease progressed so quickly in the beginning that people didn't survive very long at all. And so from being a sort of mystery, and also you were very led to believe that it was happening in America, and you know that we were all right over here because it was only America. And then you hear, like, just, you know, it's a bit like COVID. You hear something, then you're not quite sure if it's true, you're not quite sure how it spreads. So we really didn't know much in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it was amongst us.
That's what you see, when you say it crept up on you. And then I suppose then living through the worst of it and seeing your friends, like you say, they go home or they spend time away from us. You described it as a barrage of discrimination. And I suppose in the midst of the crisis, I suppose there was a terrible stigma associated with AIDS.
It was absolutely horrible. And you know, in the papers, it just said what it did was it discriminated so badly against gay men. And it would say gay plague, you know, gay men are spreading this disease. And so they had no chance of not feeling a stigma, because it was so cruel. There was such a lot of, and there were terrible headlines about celebrities like Rock Hudson and Freddie Mercury. You know, they became really desperate to get information about them, and then dying in shame, it had said about Rock Hudson, all these horrible headlines. So the boys had no chance, really. It became very secretive.
When we talk about your friends, In Love from the Pink Palace, and you do use in your book, because the inspiration for It's a Sin, it is your life, but names weren't used of friends of yours who had passed away, the real names of, you know, Juan Pablo and Dursley and Deric. In Love from the Pink Palace, you did use your friends' names. Did you go and ask for permission to do that? Like, were you worried about that?
Yes, and I asked for permission. I spent hours and hours and hours trying to, you know, discuss with remaining family members, because every single one of my friends, their parents have passed now. So it's siblings that are, you know, that I spoke to a lot. And it's been incredible, actually, because from the change has been amazing, because from the shame that happened in the 80s and the early 90s, we discussed it all together, and the siblings and families are proud of their brothers now. And so that was amazing for me. I would not have done it. I would not have used anybody's name. If I would have used a pseudonym, I would have told the story, but I wouldn't have used the name. But that, again, in a way, would have felt quite strange, writing about somebody that I knew and loved so much that was, you know, not really their name. So I was very glad that families were happy to have that out there, because it's been a source of pride for them now, seeing the love and the way people have been spoken about, and even you just saying their names there, you know, it's quite amazing.
Do you think that when you mention pride, do you think that It's a Sin, the TV show, contributed to sort of the sense of breaking down the stigma and helping people understand what, because it really was such, as well as a heartbreaking show and a story, it was so beautiful and wonderful and fun and funny. And I suppose, did it accurately reflect your life? And are we going to be reading more of the same in your book?
It accurately reflected the situation and the way that we were. But I think you asked me two things. You were saying, I can't remember what you said before, but there were little things that Russell, obviously he's a brilliant writer, and he used his own imagination for certain things, like me getting thrown in the back of the police van, or Jill Baxter. That never actually happened to me. So there's a few things that he made a little bit more extreme, but the essence of the hospitals and the fear, and, you know, the way that we were in the secrecy and the fight of the boys, that was all absolutely very real and based on other people in our circle in varying degrees, you know. And I remember what you asked me, that you said about It's a Sin. I think 100% It's a Sin made the difference, because people have been so open talking about HIV and AIDS. and Russell himself couldn't believe the feedback that he had, you know, and the love he received, and there he is. And we're about 19 or 20 there, I think. But he was amazed himself, because obviously he's had huge accolades in the past, but he said he's never experienced anything like this.
And it was because, you know, he brought back, people know him, Doctor Who, he's done so much, but this was something different. So when he comes to you, your childhood friend, and says, I want to write a television show that is based on your life and tell these boys stories, that must have kind of blown you away.
Well, it did a bit, but I never sort of believed he was going to tell my life, because he was always saying about, you know, I want to tell the story of the boys. So that was intricately, you know, mixed up with our lives. And so I spent a few weekends talking with him, and we chatted a lot about it. And he knew me anyway, so he knew what was going on in our lives, and he knew Dursley, and he knew Juan. So it kind of grew and grew and grew, actually. I never foresaw that it was going to be what it is today. So that's the incredible thing. It's become a bit of you know, a chance to even continue removing stigmas and you know, talking about it, being open about it, because I think that there are still barriers certainly in the world, but there is still fear. And that goes back all those years ago, you know, 40 years since Terence Higgins died, and still people are inclined in many ways to think it's more about gay men.
What are your thoughts then on monkeypox? Because everyone is using the same. I mean, it seems like it's all happening again. Like monkeypox is over there, and now an emergency is declared. And again, there's the sort of the assumption it's just gay men. It's only affecting gay men. Are we seeing a lot of the same parallels?
Well, there are parallels, you know, and the thing is, that shouldn't be out there, that it's gay men, because it leads other people to think that they're okay. So that's one danger. And also it's discriminatory, because it's just as was HIV. It's a virus, and it can attack anyone at any time. If you don't have, you know, any natural immunity, then you're at risk as anyone else. And just because someone might get it first doesn't mean they should have discrimination against them. So, you know, it's all that kind of chance to stigmatise someone, and minority groups and people who, you know, they've already taken their share of discrimination. So.
Jill, what a life you've lived. And a fascinating and a lovely, gorgeous book as well. Love from the Pink Palace by Jill Naldor is available in all good bookshops now, and all the other bookshops as well, and the internet probably as well. Jill, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Lovely to talk to you.
Thank you, Jill.
Cheers.
He's been moaning all week about not getting any fatty food for the last while.
I'm not a moaner.
Not a moaner. No chips, but we've got something that he very much likes on the menu today, isn't it?
I love sticky wings. Chicken wings we're having this morning,
Sticky wings.
Oh, look, if it's fatty food you want,
come to the right place.
Reach out and touch fate.
I'm glad we booked you. What's your availability for the rest of the week?
I'm free.
Let's try these first before we make any bookings.
So, little sampler.
I'm going to tell Tommy you were flirting with Ray now. Be careful now. Watch it.
Stop.
Watch it.
He'll be sitting somewhere on a beach with his six-pack out, and you're just going, he's bitching off. He said something about me. He said something. Anyway, wings, okay?
Yeah.
So, look, everyone loves chicken wings. And we all love our buffalo wings. Any way we can get them, we love wings.
Mm-hmm.
This is a nice little easy recipe. It's actually not that bad for you, right? It actually isn't bad for you at all. It's grand.
Okay.
Look, when it comes to food, everything in moderation, including moderation itself,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
So what are we going to do? How do we start?
Cook it in the pan, nice non-stick pan. If you don't have a wok, don't worry about it. Any kind of frying pan, pot, whatever. Chicken wings, right? Just normal pack from a supermarket, in on top of a hot pan like so. Give them a shake around like that. Keep the pan up on a medium to high heat, not too high.
Oil? Any oil?
I put about a tablespoon in of rapeseed oil, as you can see, just for the beautiful art of TV. You know, it helps things not stick. It makes me look professional.
Gotcha.
But at home, put it into a nice medium heat, and the actual fat from the chicken wings will render out itself, and they'll cook in their own fat.
Okay.
There's something medieval and lovely about meat cooking in its own fat.
And you haven't rolled these in anything?
No,
yet,
no flour, no corn flour, no potato starch, nothing. Not even salt. because the ingredients I'm going to use to make my glaze are salty, so I'm going to control the amount of salt. Right, let's imagine these are browning up nicely, right? Once you get a little bit of a kind of a tobacco-style colour, even the colour cinnamon on them, nice and woody kind of brown colour, they're good to go. In on top of that, we're going to add cinnamon stick and some star anise. Cinnamon stick.
Oh, no.
Do you get that lovely Asian flavour? Some chilies, fresh or dry, doesn't matter, in whole, like so.
Yeah.
Some ginger, sprinkle it on top.
Lovely.
And some garlic. Just roughly chop it up. Just get it nice and chopped. And then we're going to lash that in. Like so. Give that about a minute or so in with the chicken, just to kind of release the fragrant flavours. Why you give it a minute or so, how to know when you don't want the garlic or ginger to brown. All you want to do is once your house stinks of garlic and ginger,
you're good to go.
They're good.
Okay.
You're waking them up.
Excellent.
Light soy sauce.
Daddy's given out about the smell.
It's what?
Once Daddy's given out about the smell.
Oh, you should give out. My partner, Jackie, is sitting at home now watching this morning. She's going to go mad when I tell you this story. She's vegan. I had chowder yesterday for my lunch. She's still giving out about the smell of fish in the house.
Oh, Jack, that's not fair now.
What? Like,
that's
it's
not
chowder.
fair. That's something else.
Right?
What's that?
Soy sauce, sticky oyster sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Now, or you could use a hoisin sauce, whatever you want at home. Some sticky brown sugar. Like that. And the soy sauce was my salt, by the way, so I don't need to add any more salt to the recipe.
Okay.
Give that a swirl. Some hot water and just cover your wings.
That's quite a lot of water, actually, isn't it?
A lot of water. And once you've it emptied, refill it again from the kettle.
Okay.
Put it onto a medium to high heat, which would be about, let's say, I have it on 9 here just because I'm just standing here trying to be funny and make food look tasty on TV.
Lovely.
But about a 7 or a 6 on your electric hob, or kind of medium to halfway on your gas. Leave that simmer away for 35 to 45 minutes until they fall apart.
35 to 45 minutes.
Long time, yeah.
That's it. Now, if you have kids or cats or whatever, just put a lid on it, just so it doesn't pop over and spill hot liquid on them. Now, as they're cooking...
I'd be nervous now that I'd ruin that.
You will not ruin it.
You probably would.
It's impossible.
To be fair,
I can do it.
But with the lid on now, it's not going to reduce. Is that the case?
It'll just tip away and simmer away. When you put the lid on, you see it'll reduce a little bit slower. So when they're cooked in, you can just take the lid off, crank up the heat, and let them reduce. A chicken wing will never really overcook, because there's so much natural fat in the meat. It actually just gets moister and begins to fall apart.
And you don't want it, like, I know you were being quick there, but you don't want it to be boiling necessarily. Or to
you can boil the life out of it.
To be boiling your... But it needs to be sealed and browned first.
Sealed and browned first, that's what gets the flavour into it, right? And you can see this. I haven't topped that up with any extra water. It's the exact same.
Really? Right, OK.
Just did it in this wok and let it reduce down. The only difference is, when it's nearly finished, I just take some spring onions, just cut off the rooty bits at the end, and turn it up so you can hear me. And I cut them into 1-inch batons like so, and I just pop them straight in on top. Just at the very end, just so they stay crunchy and raw.
A little bit of green.
You don't want them to be kind of cooked to an inch of their life.
Just to feel like you're feeling a bit healthy. Gotcha.
No, and you can sprinkle in a little bit of sesame seeds in at the end. If I just scoop these out onto your plate.
Oh,
yeah,
Jack.
I'm sorry. Why the extra water is there is as it's simmering, if you have it up on too high of a heat and the water disappears and it starts to stick and burn, just pop in more water. Think about it as my wadi or Robinson's fruit squash. It's a concentrated flavour. We're doing the opposite. We're removing the water to create the flavour rather than adding water to create a bowl of squash.
Gotcha.
Lash them up here.
Sesame seeds in on top, some scallions, and then just take some lovely fresh coriander. Tear it with your hands, drop half it on the floor.
Lovely.
Lovely.
They love me inside here, the mess I make.
Come on, let's go.
Now, that's
Check
my
this
sticky
out.
chicken wings. Pop that in between the two of you, fight over them, get your gloves on.
There you go.
Check it out. Check it out.
Knock yourself out there.
Go on, go, go, go.
It looks lovely.
And it's a nice little fun one, and you can mix up the flavours whenever you want.
What alternatives, Or if you want to do a barbecue, what would you be looking
You could just do it with a barbecue sauce. You could do it with a store-bought barbecue sauce and let them cook down nice and slow inside in that sauce. Whatever your favourite one is. Or, if you're going away for, we'll say, taking the dog and the kids for a walk, pop them into your slow cooker.
Yeah, so that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, and all you have to do then is, when you come back and the chicken wing is cooked, it's still going to be quite brothy because there's not going to be enough heat in a slow cooker to create evaporation.
Yeah.
Just pull it off the heat, strain the wings, put the juice into a saucepan on the heat and just reduce it down into your sauce and then do a tossy-tossy.
Jack O'Keeffe, you'll be able to get this recipe, of course, on, I think, our Facebook page and also on the Ireland AM page on Virgin Media Television. Jack O'Keeffe, thank you so much for joining us. Delicious. Are you good? Are you happy? Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a break.
Everyone on the floor here is going Foley better stop eating those wings.
Everyone needs to go. They're ready now. Deric is literally shouting at him. Up next, we head back to the Fleadh, where Alan is getting dancing lessons. You don't want it. Come on, it's going to be good. We'll touch you in a minute.
Now, all morning, Alan is soaking up the atmosphere at the Fleadh in Mullingar. Alan, how are you getting on? What are you up to?
I'll tell you, Ray, we're having great fun here this morning at the Fleadh in Mullingar. Look, the crowds are out. Good morning, guys. All the locals dropping by to say hello. And we're going to do a bit of set dancing now. And I'm joined by Thomas Pettit, who's organised this for us this morning. Good morning to you. How are you?
Alan, how are you?
What is set dancing?
Yeah, so set dancing is a very traditional form of Irish dancing. I suppose the closest comparison is actual Irish dancing, where you have ladies with the wigs. It's very similar in terms of movement and music that we dance to. The difference would be is that we would keep our feet a lot closer to the ground.
Right.
We have some shoes on.
As the car goes by rattling there.
As the car goes by rattling, trying to shout over it. We'd have shoes on us then that we can make a bit of noise as well. So it'd be kind of rhythmic dancing as we go along.
And it's a very old traditional
old traditional, yeah. I believe it goes back about 150 years, if I'm not mistaken.
And you are the St. Joseph set dancers.
We are indeed.
And you're going to be performing this weekend.
Yeah, so the ladies behind me here are dancing in the 15 to 18 age group on Friday at 5:15. So if there's anyone around, Loretto College, support local, it'd be great to have everyone.
And you were saying that it actually gets very competitive.
Very competitive.
This is the big deal for them.
Yeah.
This is the All-Ireland.
It's the All-Ireland, yeah. It's the All-Ireland, yeah.
So you want to take home the trophy, lads? I'm telling you now, girls.
They'd want to, yeah.
How much work goes into it before you come up to a competition like this?
A lot of work. A lot of early mornings. We're yesterday 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, Friday morning before we go.
Before you go to school and before and then afterwards. And how did you get into it?
So I started set dancing about 13 years ago. I was in primary school and there was a couple of kids in my class that were involved. Position opened up and they asked me would I fill in. I was addicted straight away.
Yeah.
So I danced myself for 3 years and my teacher had actually finished up and retired from teaching. And I just decided to start my own set dancing group then.
And would it be then you're doing set dancing, would it be a lot of people who do set dancing would still do Irish dancing? Or is it totally different technique?
It is different in the sense that Irish dancing you can do individually. With set dancing it's just teams.
All right.
My preference, I suppose, between both, I love both. But with set dancing, you can do it for an awful lot longer. It's not as laborious on the body. Irish dancing,
and we talk to people like in river dance and the injuries on their legs and their feet and everything.
Yeah.
So it's not as tough.
Not as tough. I just say to people, I'm retired from Irish dancing at 25 years of age, and they all laugh.
Yeah.
But it's true because you can't keep doing it for too long.
So tell me, what has the atmosphere been like in Mullingar for the Fleadh?
Fantastic, yeah, fantastic. The ladies there were dancing at the opening ceremony. There on Sunday, and it was huge crowds, huge crowds.
So you're all looking forward to the weekend and the competition, going to take home the title. Now, you're taking on a new member this morning, and that's me. So you're going to teach me a few little moves. So
absolutely.
I'm in the wrong shoes to start. You should have brought me a pair of your ones. So what are the set moves then? What do you need
so
to do?
the basic moves. The basic moves. So what we'll do is we'll do a Clare batter step.
A Clare
batter step.
Battered.
Batter.
Oh, batter. A Clare batter step. Okay, Clare batter step. Here, I'm going to put this down here. Okay, Clare batter step. What's a Clare batter step?
So, what you're going to do is with your right foot, you're going to go stamp.
Stamp.
With your left foot, heel toe.
Heel toe.
And do it again. Stamp, heel toe. So do that twice. So stamp, heel toe, stamp, heel toe. Right foot forward, stamp, back, heel toe.
Oh, for God's sake.
And stamp. We should have practiced before.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of music. Come on there, Joe. Give me a little bit of something. Go on.
So,
here we go. Oh, we did the bit.
I have to.
Oh, you got it. Go on. Just these little moves. Go on. Step. Ah, here. It's my version of it. Oh, no. I tell you that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, now we have to leave it to the professional St. Joseph set dancers. Are you ready to get into position? And look at the array of musicians that we have here this morning. Thank you all so much for coming out, but we have to leave it into hands of the professionals. Take it away, gang. was absolutely fantastic. Well done. Good luck at the weekend. Well, we've lots more to come from Mullingar. We're going to have more music, and we're also going to be chatting to John Kenny and Mary McEvoy. But now back to studio.
Are you competing, Alan? Are you going to be competing in the Fleadh? You did such a fantastic job
I'm
in the
going to
dancing.
compete at the weekend. Yes, what do you think? Me little dance moves. There you go.
That's
as good as it gets.
Still got it.
Still got it.
Sammy Sausages always has it. We'll talk to you again in just a little while.
You better come back here with a medal. That's all I'm saying. Still to come.
Pushy parent.
What?
You're like
I
a
am a
pushy
pushy
parent.
I demand results.
That's it.
Still to come on Ireland AM, we catch up with 2 in a row All-Ireland champions, the Meath Ladies.
Yes, and in fashion, it's perfect dresses for your height. Oh, and we'll have more from Alan at the Fleadh. Join us for all of that after the break.
Welcome back to Mullingar for Fleadh 2022. We've had a great morning here, and look at all the musicians out and our set dancers keeping us entertained right throughout the morning. Still to come, we're going to be talking to Mary McEvoy and John Kenny about their getting back together for the Matchmaker, which is playing here for the rest of the week. What a morning it is. If you are going to come down to the Fleadh, it's on till Saturday, you're in for a real treat of great music and great dancing. What do you think, lads? You're missing it down here, I'm telling you.
It looks
really
looks like great crack. Everyone got up early in Mullingar. It's only 9 o'clock and you're mobbed down there. You got a fantastic showing.
And it's going to be like going all night. It's fantastic. I once went on a date to the Fleadh.
Really? Where? Which Fleadh?
It was in Tullamore, I think. In Tullamore? Maybe it was in Mullingar. It was great fun. That's all I remember. It was really, really, really good fun.
Are you still together?
We are not.
No, that didn't work out. Thanks a million, Alan. Now, coming up in studio, 2 in a row All-Ireland winners, the Meath Ladies, are still celebrating, and they'll be chatting about their victory and homecoming celebration.
Also in today's style slot, I'm leaving you now. Bye-bye. It's all about dressing for your height. Rob, hello.
Good morning.
What have you got for us today?
We are all about dressing for your height. So whether you're small or whether you are tall, we have the perfect summer dresses.
Now, is Ciara near or is she far away? That's it. She's near. Oh, God, Ciara. What is you? 5'11"?
5'11".
Wow, okay.
Yes, so we're taking a look at 5'11". We've got 2 other models who are 5'2" and 5'4". So the perfect summer dresses for dressing for your height. So whether you want to go short or tall.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hello. We've got lots of messages coming in this morning in relation to A&Es. They're still coming in. We were chatting about it earlier on after the numbers. 25,000 people are shown to be waiting over 24 hours in emergency department to be admitted into the hospital.
Waiting for beds, sitting in chairs and sitting on trolleys waiting for beds in hospitals, thousands of people waiting.
So June says, these are my thoughts on the healthcare system. It baffles me that people are shocked about the wait in A&E. Are these people living under a rock? This has been going on for years. The poor staff, it's like they're constantly working in a war zone. We should look at health systems that work from other countries like Germany. The shock always amazes me. The people at the top of the health system should be held accountable, says June. There's no accountability in this country.
Every politician that knocks on your door says they're going to fix the health service and it's going to be sorted out by the next government. I'm classed as a highly complex case. I'm in hospital a lot and the pressure nurses are under, rushing around, working through breaks, no staff to help them, overly packed hospitals, no beds, but still take time to be so kind and caring towards people like myself. It's also affecting ambulance services, no beds or nurses to do handover of patients. So ambulances are held up sometimes by hours or more. I can't imagine anyone does it for the money and prospects from LA. No, they don't. They do it because they're good at it, because they care about patients. And time and time again, the reflection is never on the people that are seeing you. I've done a couple of stints myself over the last couple of years in A's and E's.
Yeah.
A's and E's.
A's and E's, or EDs as they're calling them.
Yeah, and you couldn't fault the people that you're dealing with or the people that are taking care of you. And you can't be shouting at them about not getting a bed or having to sit in a chair, It's not their fault.
Nothing
It's the system.
to do with them, absolutely.
Thanks for the messages.
Hello, my wife was in the ED last week and she was fobbed off, sent home. Her GP was concerned and rang her and said, please, can you head back? And had given her a letter about tests that were necessary to be carried out immediately. Her notes had the wrong information when the GP received them. When we attended the hospital a second time, we were left sitting for hours. We are now arranging tests privately at a cost that we shouldn't have to be paying. And that comes in from Dave this morning. So they've had to go private rather than going to the emergency department with that. Thank you for all of your messages on this. I'm sure it's something that will be ongoing because it always is ongoing and nothing ever seems to be done. Now, up next, on the Royal County, All-Ireland champions Meath. There it is now, the Brendan Martin Cup. We'll be chatting to a couple of winners very shortly. Welcome back now. It was a fabulous weekend for the Royal County. The Meath Ladies successfully defended their All-Ireland Championship on Sunday by beating Kerry in Croke Park.
And we're delighted to be joined by two members of the team, Monica McGurk and Megan Tyne, along with the Brendan Martin Cup. Ladies, good morning.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind couple of days, so it has.
Who on the team said, Monica and Megan are doing it? Because I'm assuming that there's been no bed. It's like, oh, for God's sake, not these two.
I actually got the call there yesterday, and then I was roped into getting another player, so I was like, get Megan there quick.
I don't have to work all week. I don't want to be going in there.
No, we were delighted to be here, so it's great. Yeah.
How's it been since Sunday then? So the celebrations and there hasn't been any come down, I presume, Monica.
No, we're still going strong, so we are. So yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic, and the crowds and the support we've had over the last couple of days and the last 2 weeks leading up to it has just been absolutely fantastic. So it's been brilliant.
Because it's really interesting. You were just saying, like, Megan, you didn't have the Brendan Martin Cup last year because of COVID restrictions, and then you didn't have the big homecoming. So is it like you're experiencing it in a different way this year, being All-Ireland champions again?
Definitely. I think it's that bit more. We're getting more out of it this year, I think. We didn't get to bring the cup back from Croke Park last year, so it was definitely nice to bring it back to Trim there on Sunday night when the big crowds were there, because last year we had nothing to kind of show them.
You're like, can someone make a paper, Brendan Martin?
I actually think someone did.
I think they did, yeah.
They have it there. So having the crowds, because last year was this, I suppose, Monica, it was thought of as this unexpected victory over Dublin, and Dublin who had run so many times, and then next thing it was like, Meath have come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, it was a huge story and a huge achievement for you.
Yeah, I suppose last year, we were just taking every game as it came, and there was no pressure going into any game, and I suppose we were just enjoying the lead up to it, and we knew when we were going in against Dublin, we'd nothing to lose, and we just wanted to put in our best performance, and thankfully we did. And looking back on it now, we still think to this day it's probably one of the best performances we've ever put in against any team. So obviously, like Megan was saying there was a few COVID restrictions back then, but even to get the likes of the 47,000 people there last Sunday was absolutely fantastic. And two teams that normally aren't in an All-Ireland final to rock up 47,000 people is absolutely fantastic, and it's a credit to the LGFA and all the promoters that have done everything for us. Absolutely.
Megan, on the game itself, there was a lot of focus on Kerry in the lead up to it, that everyone was watching them, expecting them to do well, and given that they'd waited so long, even though you'd won last year, do you feel like maybe he sort of snuck in or flew in under the radar for the win again? Yeah,
I definitely think we probably kind of looked like underdogs again. To be honest, Monica will probably agree, we probably haven't had our best year, and game by game, I think people were surprised we were continuing to win, even we were only winning by a point or so, but definitely, I think we definitely thought Kerry there was more hype in their camp than we were getting, but we liked the underdog tag, so we were happy enough. We knew what we had to do. So
it gives you a bit of a wriggle room or a bit of comfort.
Yeah,
you can operate once you're confident in yourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But how did it sit in camp, being like, we're the All-Ireland champions, and people are kind of in the lead up to this, win the league, and people were kind of discounting you, Monica? I felt it was a bit weird.
Yeah, look, in the 2 weeks leading up to the All-Ireland final, we were just focusing on ourselves. Yeah. We were trying to stay away from all that kind of, that negativity or whatever they'd like to call it. We just were focused on our game plans and what we were going to bring towards Kerry. Because look, we knew we hadn't played Kerry since a year ago in the Division 2 League final, so we knew that that was going to be a massive battle. So I suppose we kind of just wanted to, you know, put everything that was being said to one side, and we just knew we had to focus on ourselves and put in the performance, and thankfully we did.
How did you prepare yourself, Megan, before the game? And like you said, you weren't paying attention then to social media or to coverage in general. To keep the head down.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I think as a team we're quite good at that anyways. Like, we put it in training, and our management team are brilliant at keeping us at a level that we don't go overthinking things. And you know, I think genuinely, I just think the people involved are just like, we're positive thinkers, and we didn't let any of that creep into our games, so we just kept it as normal.
Because it's been growing for, like, what's been happening in Meath has been growing in a while. Like, Monica, when you were, I think it was back in 2018, when you were still playing soccer and kind of focused on that, and then Eamon Murray heard that you were kind of stepping away from soccer, and he was on the phone straight away going, just give me a couple of weeks, we'll see how it goes. And next thing, you've won 2 All-Irelands. Like, you were always building towards something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's a credit to obviously Eamon getting all the players in, but obviously the background team, we've got a huge background team in all our coaches and managers, and it's an absolute credit to all them. You know, they've put in a huge amount of work. They've been in since 2017, and obviously I only came in 2018, and they're after giving everything to Meath Ladies for the last 5 years, and ultimately, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we are today. And we just want to thank them very much for everything that they've done, because obviously, you know, a few of the coaches are stepping away this year and they'll be sadly missed. And, you know, we just want to say thanks very much to them, and they will be greatly missed. Like,
yeah, and more power to them. Incredible numbers in Croke Park at the weekend. You mentioned it yourself. And there's such a focus as well on the women's football team.
The Euros,
the Euros.
Highest ever attendance at the finals,
and such a focus and such support being shown for women's sport. Is the wind at your back? Is it all sorted now? That's it, done and dusted.
It's just sport now. It's not just women's sport.
That's it,
sport. Do you know, you're getting people behind you. You know, it's kind of important, Megan.
Yeah, like, it is. It's getting better. And like we were just actually saying earlier, like, the last 2 years that we've been involved has probably been one of the most successful numbers for the game.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like, we're blessed to be part of that, because a few years ago it wasn't like that, and there's still great teams playing. Like, it is getting better, but as we said as well, there probably is a small bit of room for it to keep growing, you know. So
I love that. We got involved, we started winning, and I swear to God, look what's happened.
Absolutely.
Look what's happened to this. You just need the Hill of Tara. I mean, we're good. Like, I'm wondering if you're going to bring the Brendan Martin up to this. The Stone of Destiny at the ring. The Hill of Tara. Sure, what? It's some stone, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Well, from that, like, there must be such... Like, in the county, I know some of the management are stepping away, but the belief within ye, and then bringing people on, like, looking at that, like, that's like, you know, you've got plans.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I suppose all you have to do is look at the homecoming that we had there Monday evening. We had over 5,000 people in the Fair Green in Navan, which has never happened for a Meath Ladies football team, you know. And I suppose it's down to obviously all the hard work of the girls in promoting the sport. And I suppose for the women's football, it's very family orientated to see all the kids and everything out. And you walk down the street now, and every second child you see has a Meath jersey on, which it's just quite nice, you know. So it is. It's pretty special. So it is.
So celebrate. You're in the midst of the celebrations at the moment, Megan.
Yes.
Have you been to bed since Sunday?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think that this might be the reason me and Monica are on the.
You're the two that went to bed.
I don't know if they got to bed last night.
So how much of a break or a rest do you get now before you have to knuckle down?
Well, we're playing club championship next week, so.
Next week.
Yeah.
First round's on the 10th, isn't it?
Yeah, the 10th.
Who are you playing?
We're playing against St Dalton's in the first round.
We're playing Manalvi, so
all right.
We could come across each other.
I was just about to say at some stage, but you're just gonna be like, lads, we scored 310 in an All-Ireland final. I need to just calm down. But you're having it, like, let's be honest, has there been drinking out of Brendan?
Yes. Give it a wipe down there this morning.
A little bit of hand sanitizer. You're good to go. Can it be, you know, the way normally babies have to go into? Has the baby been in?
There actually has been 1 or 2 babies in. Yeah, there has. Yeah,
very important.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's great. Oh no, it's great.
We'll get an extra large cappuccino in there for the morning.
We'll do that. We might even try to fit you in it.
Good luck. Good luck getting me out of it. If you manage to get me into it.
Monica,
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
We know Monica has to go to work now for a few hours. Do you?
Yeah, I
Monica
do,
was like, I've got to go. But you're going out tonight.
Yes, yeah, I'll be going back out. Yeah, I'm finishing off the week.
Finishing off the week.
Absolutely.
McIntyre, you're going out tonight?
I am going out tonight.
All right, all the Meath ladies, have a great time tonight. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for bringing Brenda Martin in as well. We really appreciate it.
Lovely.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congrats.
Now, from Glenroe to Dumbelievables, after the break, Alan catches up with Mary McEvoy and John Kenny. Now, Alan's been busy at the Fleadh, always getting people out of bed, even though they're
having a great time. There's an incredible atmosphere in Mullingar.
Alan, how are you doing?
I'm grand, we're having, I tell you, we're having the chats and the laugh here already because we have been joined in the Grenville Arms Hotel by acting royalty, Irish acting royalty, Mary McEvoy and John Kenny. Good morning, John. Good morning. Now, don't you start
No,
now.
I just want to put a halo over Mary's head. I can't find the halo, so I'll find the lamp.
There we go. Put a lamp under Mary's head.
Well, it is
Good
true.
morning to you.
Good morning.
Well, Mary, you only live down the road, so you're welcoming us to Mullingar.
Well, you're very welcome to Mullingar, and you're very welcome. But you're also very lucky to be in Mullingar, which I happen to think is one of the nicest towns in the country.
And what's the atmosphere like here then?
It's fantastic, isn't it, John? It's like it's lovely. It's lovely. It's really, I'm not a great person for crowds. I was kind of half dreading it in a way, but it's been really sweet and lovely, and families and just everybody going around. And it's nice to see the whole place pedestrianised too.
And I love the way they're saying it's the homecoming because the very first Fleadh was here.
Yeah.
It's mad. So what's it like then when you're performing? Is it different when you're performing the play? You're both in The Matchmaker, which you've been doing for a good few years now, let's be honest.
Since nearly the first Fleadh, yeah.
How long have you been doing The Matchmaker together?
Well, I said to someone yesterday, our relationship with The Matchmaker is a little bit like Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor. Not that I am Richard Burton. She could be Elizabeth Taylor, of course. But it's because it's been on, been off, been on, been off. No, but we've been doing it for 7 years, isn't it, Mayor?
Yeah, like that.
But there's a great legacy in it. The play was turned from the book to the play 21 years ago.
Yes,
when somebody got an idea, let's turn John's novelettes into a play, like so many of them have been. And it's existed through many forms, like there were so many great people. You worked with McLally on it.
McLally and Des Keogh, and then actually Ray McAnally and Ronnie Masterson did it, the husband and wife team. So, and Anna Manahan.
Anna Manahan did it with Des Keogh.
When you were doing it with McLally, that was a huge thing because of the two of you from Glenroe at the time. So there was huge publicity and hype around
Well,
it.
there was, and it was lovely. And it's funny, we were in The Matchmaker in the Tivoli. I don't know how many years ago it is, and I said to Mick on the last night, I said, I'll see you in Dundrum, and he was dead.
Oh my God.
6 weeks later, it was the last time I ever saw him. Yeah.
And then when you say the Tivoli, it's now a hotel.
Is
it terrible when you think these old theatres?
I used to play. I know you loved.
We were there. Like I know they're our home, and your home.
It was my home for a long time.
Yeah. So is it different then when you're playing The Matchmaker, when you're playing a play at a Fleadh? Are the crowds different or is it the same?
I think the fact is that, you see, we're on at 5:45, so it's got a sense of difference about it, in the sense that it's kind of a different energy or something. But the crowds, we got a standing ovation last night, the crowds still love it and everything.
But why wouldn't you? Look, they were saying Irish acting royalty here.
Oh, Chinny, I wish I had the money of Irish acting royalty. Anyone would like to turn Irish acting... I would like to monetise Irish acting royalty here if anybody...
Yeah, exactly.
It's different. But you see, the thing is, it was our first night back in front of an audience for 2 years.
More than 2
years. Yeah, more. Because we were doing the TD before that.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard to judge because it was just straight. And it was really weird. I don't know how you found it, but it was really strange because it was kind of going... Yeah, on one way you have muscle memory that you've been doing it so long that you can say, I know what's happening next, and then your brain was going, you don't know what's happening next because you haven't done it for 2 years, and so there was that thing. But it went surprisingly smoothly.
Of course it
surprisingly
would.
smoothly.
What was COVID like for you guys, and sort of everything, like the industry as we know it basically came to a halt?
Well, the thing, not for me, because I'm at the end of my journey. I'm not saying that.
Look at, I know. No, we have a few musicians here who could give you an element.
But I'm saying for younger actors, and younger musicians.
Yeah, that's true.
Who were in some place needed. Like, I've done my bit. I had my fling at it, you know. I had a crack at the whip. But for people starting out who had to, you know, even pay for their accommodation, had a mortgage. Mother God, when the whole thing closes down.
Yeah. And there was people too, I think, at the cusp of breaking it.
That's right. We had a girl on this morning, and she was basically just launching her career on the February and March when it all just hit, and just everything went on hold. But you know what? It is back, and it's back stronger because people want to go and see live shows now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's that growl for it now, isn't it?
And I used to ring Mary, and Mary ring me. Where are you, Mary? I'm swimming. I'm in Lochgill. I'm in the lake in the morning. Swimming.
Loch Lane.
Sorry. I mix up my lakes.
No, but I loved COVID. I loved it. I loved, and it made me change my life, really.
Did it?
Yeah.
In what way? Is that why you're stepping back now from
touring? From touring.
Yeah.
Please, again, Irish acting royalty would like a job. If there's any...
she's not stepping away from acting. No. She just doesn't want to tour with John Kenny anymore.
No, John. I said to John the other day when we were rehearsing, I said, I would just love to sit and talk to you all day without a play getting in the way.
Right.
And that's the way... And I don't mean that for that a play, but I now am at that part of my life where I want to savour my life, and I don't want the tension and I don't know. I get very discombobulated.
Yeah.
But
you're stepping away from the tour of this, and you're going to continue with
just theatre in general.
Yeah. Now, but John, you've been working away in a couple of films. There's a film out, and you got back together with Pat Short. And there's a film coming out this year, The Banshee of... Inishin. Tell us about that.
Well, I don't know. It's a McDonagh. And look, God almighty, a groupie. The first time I saw a McDonagh play, I just fell in love with it. And I would read The Cripple. I read plays. I go to bed and I would take books to bed. Under Milkwood is a book I have beside my bed.
Right.
I read constantly. And with that is The Cripple of Inishmaan.
Yeah.
And a few more. There's a magic, there's a poetry. He's a bit like, there's a poetry in Keane as well. There's a rhythm to the thing. There's a rhythm in Under Milkwood. Yes, and thanks be to God, we got a phone call that said, would you like to take back? I said, I'd take your hand off. Would I like? And he asked. And it was just so beautiful. Well, you know, and all the whole cast were just to be part of it.
Yeah. But the Irish industry, film industry, TV and plays, it's just really strong at the moment. Because you were saying to me about another play, you're in the Hurler, or another film, a Hurler, which a guy, Tony Kelly, wasn't
Tony Kelly wrote it, but he's an actor as well. And there's so much talent out there. And there is, look, crikey lads, we're spending our time, this music, film industry, writing, there's an energy out there that's powerful. And I hope, if I can say something, that the government come in behind it and look after this. It's an industry. We all know it's an industry. We can turn a few pounds. If we turn a few pounds, we pay tax. If we pay tax, somebody else gets the benefit of it. Crike almighty, support the arts. It sounds a bit crikey. It sounds a bit crappy.
I know. There's going like this.
Here's the director.
Aaron's going like this. You know what?
Reel him in.
We could literally just sit here chatting all morning. But we have to say, the Matchmaker is running here in Mullingar.
5:45 tonight and tomorrow night.
And then we go to Belfast to do the final swan song in the Lyric Theatre. But it'll be my last gig with Mary.
There's a man just there sitting down outside there. There you go.
He's having a banana.
There you are.
He's going to want an appearance.
That's what it's all about.
And you know what I love, Alan? I love the curtains.
Do you love the curtains? Well, you have to leave them here. The Grenville arms now be given out to us. We have to wrap our producer out in studio in Dublin.
Him off. I like the young fella. He's only a young fella. Don't listen to him at all. We're staying on air. You have to cut. You just have to cut. Go in. We go mad now. I'm going to go under the
Matchmaker. Back to studio, guys.
Have a bun, director. Have a bun.
I remember one time John Kenny was on, I think it was on the 6 o'clock show, and he just lay down on a couch like he was Sylvester Stallone or Burt Reynolds in front of a fire. That man, he'll do whatever the hell he wants, and it's great. Those scones looked delicious. But yes, support the arts, and we hope everyone has a great time when they're at the Fleadh. We will be going back before the end of the show, but up next we're going on the catwalk, where we've got dresses to suit all heights is what we're doing today. We'll talk to you in a minute. Welcome back. It's fashion time, and stylist Rob Condon is here with dresses to suit every height. We're doing heights today.
Yes, we're all about heights. So whether you're tall or whether you're petite, what dresses that are going to suit you. And we've got the perfect summer dresses. They're all available from CC Boutique, dressesonline.ie, and we've shoes and accessories from Manor Mill Shopping Centre.
I do get asked that all the time. What height are you? I don't know if it's going to suit me. Oh, that dress is... I'm like,
And we're also looking at that kind of misconception that if you are tall, you can't wear a short dress. Of course you can wear a short dress if you're tall. And a lot of people, if they're small...
big knickers.
A lot of people, if they're small as well, think, oh, I'm going to look swamped in a maxi dress. So we're kind of getting rid of that misconception.
Lovely. So we've got Ciara here.
Ciara joins us first here with this look, and Ciara is 5'11". First off, we've got the earrings, which are 5'47". A really statement pair of earrings. They're like a teardrop hammered gold earring, but just making such a statement. And with this dress, I think with the V neckline to it, if you're going with a statement necklace, I'd keep it bare at the neckline.
Gotcha. Okay.
The dress is €59 here. So as you can see with this dress, it's all about the fit, the flare to it. So it is a shorter dress, but it's a great length. So if you're taller, this is the dress for you because of the shape to the dress.
Okay, so with this, because sometimes I find pleats a bit hard.
Yeah.
You know,
hard to wear with it. But as you can see in Ciara, it's kind of all about the fit, the flare, the shape to it. Whereas if you were smaller, what I'd say with this dress, it's going to swamp you if you wear it like this. But if you were to put a belt in the middle of it, it's going to give you that shape. So definitely, if you are more petite, you're going to want to go with a belt with this. Now, because Ciara is taller, it's all about that shape. And wearing a kind of flowy and oversized works really well.
I think this would be great for a wedding as well, I have to say. This outfit.
Yeah, it would. You could definitely bring it into an occasion wear wardrobe. With the bag, it is $34.95. It's a quilted green bag, so sticking with those green tones, and then you can see the gold chain detail to it. The shoes then from Divine Boutique, these are a great pair of shoes. They're all about suede quilted shoes, and you can see the quilting to the back of them. What I like as well is they're a really dressy shoe, but they're a small heel to them as well.
Yes, but I know you're going to have Ciara in high heels in a while as well, because if you're tall, wear whatever size heels you absolutely want to. Now, Apple is here this morning. Hello, Apple Lily, how are you?
Yes, so we're taking a look with a maxi dress here. So just because you're small, it doesn't mean that you don't have to go with a longer dress. A lot of people can stray away from it because they think, oh, I'm going to be swamped in this, but this works really well. With the earrings, first off, they are $6.95. They're a gold hoop earring. And then with the necklace, we have gone layered with this look here. So it is a V neckline to the dress. The necklace is €36. It is one piece, but you can see there's the shorter chain and then it goes down into the pendant of it. So if you are going with kind of delicate jewellery, go with a layered piece with this neckline here.
Okay, so this is the same design?
Yes, it is. It's the exact same print, but it's a different dress in it. So it's that faux wrap dress. It's longer, so it is a maxi dress. It's €58. But Apple is 5'3", so you can see it's working on her height here. It's belted to the middle there with that gold belt. It's really kind of high octane glam with this look.
And
but you go a little bit more
casual. People who are shorter might be thinking, I'm sorry if I'm Apple, if I don't mean to be offending you, 5'3" is not short in any way, shape or form. But you know that they mightn't go for the maxi dresses.
Yeah, a lot of people who are shorter, they're kind of thinking, I'm going to be swamped in a maxi dress, but it's not the case because it can be more difficult for someone who's taller to go with a maxi dress because they can't get the length in it, so they nearly need to upsize to get that little bit of length.
100%. So you've belted this little gold was going on there, and now the shoes.
And then we are onto shoes. So we've gone with a quart pair of heels here. They're going to go with anything in your wardrobe. Take them from season to season. A pair of jeans with these heels are going to look great. But also with this dress, if you want to throw a pair of trainers, get rid of the belt and go with a denim jacket. You could make it really casual also to get another wear out of the dress.
Lovely. Apple, thank you so much for that. Now we've got Sally Ann is here. Hi, Sally Ann.
Sally Ann is with us here, and we are all about the shirt dress with this look. So with a shirt dress, a lot of people who are smaller can stray away from it also because it can be a piece that will swamp you. But by adding a belt to it, it's going to give you that little bit of shape to it.
Okay, so
first off, we've got the earrings, which are $6.96 there. So really great pair of statement earrings. It's all about earrings this season and statement ones with these gold teardrop. Then with the necklace, it is €25. Another layered piece, so it is one piece, but it's layered. You see the beaded detail into it, and then it goes down into a pendant. Then with the shirt dress, it is €69 here. So really great print to this dress. What I love about it is it's a print that's going to bring you into autumn, winter, putting that with tights, boots, because of the black base to
and
this
with that, because sometimes to make it really versatile, you can just open that and wear it as a kimono,
exactly.
right?
We were just saying that a little while ago. It'd be really nice worn as a kimono, leave it open, cami top underneath it, and a pair of jeans, and it's going to look
boots, you're
great.
good to go. Yeah.
Yes. We've then in the middle, we've gone with the belt there, so quite a statement belt, gold buckle detailing to it at $487. But I definitely think, now it does come with a tie, so if you wanted to go print on print, you could do that, but just break up the print, definitely the belt.
Yeah, I need to buy a good few belts just to have that that strong belt in the middle. Is great with
print.
Completely. Okay, so what have we got here? The shoes.
Off then with the shoes, we have gone with a strappy sandal, gold detailing to them, bringing back in the buckle that we saw in the belt. They're a kitten heel, so if you're looking for a comfortable pair of shoes that are dressy at the same time, they are going to work perfect in your wardrobe.
Sally-Ann, thank you so much this morning, and Ciara is coming back again now.
Yes, our final look, and we are going totally tropical with this look here on Ciara. So again,
Ciara's about 6'2" now with the heels.
With the heels, she's about 6'2". Sunglasses here at €15. They're an oversized pair of cat-eye sunglasses, really statement pair as well. And we're seeing lots of oversized sunglasses this season. Then with the necklace, it is $17.46. So it's all about that disc style, different colours. There's the grey and yellows, which we are bringing back in the dress. Now with this dress, you can see the neckline to it. You can wear it off the shoulder as well, so there's two ways of wearing it. It is €45. Again, we're breaking up the print with the belt there to the middle of it. It is an A-line, so it's going to suit a lot of different body shapes. But it just works great here in Ciara, and I think there's that extra little bit of length. So if you are tall, you're going with heels, it's going to make you a little bit taller. There is a little bit more length to this dress.
Okay, yeah, because with that you have to be able to go, if you're going on holidays, throw in a pair of heels. You've got the flats as well. It has to be able to do so much.
But it's going to go great with a pair of flat gladiator sandals as well if you're heading for lunch. With the bag, $34.95 there, and it's got the scarf detail, and that comes with the bag. It's kind of clashing prints there, but it works quite well.
That's a great woven bag, actually. It's good size.
Yeah, you're going to get lots in it as well. And then finishing off the look with a gold classic strappy sandal there. They're going to go with everything in your wardrobe, no matter what the dress is, and a perfect piece to bring on holidays as well, because they will go with so many different things.
Ciara, it's been a pleasure having you towering over us today. Thank you so much. It's so good. And everything's available?
They're all available at CC Boutique, dressesonline.ie, and the accessories are available at Manor Mills.
Rob Condon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Do you rather with 6'2" and a slouch?
You can try this on afterwards. I'm sure it'll be fine on you. Don't worry about it.
We've got just enough time to check in one last time with Alan. He's at the Fleadh in Mullingar. Alan, over to you, sir.
Well, thanks, guys. We've had an absolutely wonderful morning here in Mullingar. The atmosphere is absolutely fantastic. Make sure you get down to the Fleadh here in Mullingar. It's on till Sunday. A big thank you to all our musicians and dancers. We're going to leave you now. Take it away, guys.